Welcome back, guys. I'm going to tell you about my honeymoon and how that trip absolutely traumatized us from air travel. We hate it now. We are terrified to go on a plane again. So it starts off with, first of all, this was like a year, somewhere between a year and a half after COVID started. So a lot of COVID had died down, but the airlines and airports still required you to have masks on. So that part already kind of sucked, but it is what it is. It was the times we were living in, right? So our flight was supposed to leave from our home airport, and we had a connecting flight to Chicago, and we were vacationing in Clearwater Beach, Florida. And right off the bat, I want to establish, we were supposed to be on a beach by like 3 p.m. It was supposed to be bing, 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 in the hotel, stuff unpacked, on the beach, 3 p.m. Vacation starts. That is not what happened. So we were supposed to leave, our flight was supposed to leave at 10 a.m. at our home airport, and we were connecting through Chicago. I don't remember which of the Chicago airports it was. I think it was O'Hare. I don't know. We were waiting for it to arrive to our home airport, and that flight was delayed. It was late like 45 minutes. And that alone made us miss our connecting flight in Chicago. So we were already off to kind of a rocky start. It's fine, we'll catch the next connecting flight. The next connecting flight wasn't until like 5:45 in the evening. So we had basically probably somewhere like 6 hours to kill at the airport, which is not my favorite way to spend time, especially when I'm supposed to be on the beach and I haven't even left Chicago. So we get signed up for the next flight. It's 5:45, delay for an hour. Okay, that's fine. We're delayed an hour. It's not a big deal. Another delay, another delay, another delay. It's probably like almost 11 o'clock at night at this point. And then tornadoes come through, and they have to not only ground all of the flights in the area, anything that was taking off. And again, I say all this, like, obviously you have to be cautious of tornado. Like, if it's a tornado, they did all the things that they were supposed to do in grounding the flights. And also, fun fact, when there is a tornado, they have to evacuate air traffic control. So they were just shut down basically for the night. We were told to go wait at a specific gate in line to get our flights rebooked. So we're waiting in line. We're probably waiting somewhere around like 50 minutes, just under an hour. It's not too bad. While we're waiting in line, we're able to book ourselves a hotel because my husband has to sleep a very specific, particular kind of way. He has really severe sleep apnea, and he struggles with sleep a lot. I can sleep anywhere. And we're waiting in line. We're like 5 people from the front desk, and they shut down the line. This woman comes down, passes everyone a note. We've got hundreds of people in line behind us still. We are almost to the front, and they say, call this number on this card. The line is shut down. Why did you even have us stand in the line? What was the point of that? So then we call the number. We're able to get our flight rebooked for, I think it was like 6:30, 6:45 the next morning, really early. We're going to have to be back in this airport at the crack of dawn. So we're like, okay, fine. Flight is rebooked. We've got a hotel. Let's get out of here. There are no Ubers or Lyfts. None. We can't find. I even called an old-fashioned, like, classic taxi service, and they don't even do pickups at the airport, which is just like crazy. Why are you a taxi service if you're not going to pick up at the airport? I feel like that used to be a thing. Why are you even? Anyway. We finally get a lift, but it's a massive surcharge. We ended up waiting 2 hours for it, and it's $115 to drive us 15 minutes. And also, this guy was so nice. He was so great. We had to wait 2 hours. We had to pay him quite a bit, but he booked with us for the next morning right away, because this was 1 o'clock in the morning at this point by the time we got to a hotel. And so we were going to have to be up and back at the airport by like 5. So we were only going to get like 3 hours of sleep, which is rough. I know very few people who can function well off of 3 hours of sleep. So he was really nice. chatted us up the whole time, like shared our traveling woes with us so far, and then booked us for the next morning. So he was going to see us in, 4 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. So he came and picked us up the next morning, got us to the airport. We got through, thank God. And then we ended up getting to our hotel. We got to Clearwater, not a problem after that. So we lost a whole day of the vacation. And that sucked. Now, on our way back, we were scheduled to leave on Sunday. We called our airline because there was a hurricane rolling in and we didn't want to get caught in any issues. We called our airline. We booked a day early. So we ended up flying out on Saturday. Get out of Tampa, not a problem. We are flying to, I always get these cities mixed up, whatever the main major city airport is in North Carolina. That's where we're supposed to be going. We are just circling in the air for probably 45 minutes to an hour, just doing loop-de-loops because they have storms in North Carolina, and so we can't land. And I'm getting nauseous because we're just doing circles in the air. It's like riding the same ride over and over at the carnival. It was terrible. And also, this whole time you're wearing a mask. You know how you can kind of feel kind of claustrophobic if you're not getting fresh air? I was nauseous and not getting any fresh air, and it was terrible. Then we land in South Carolina. They redirect us to South Carolina. I am so sorry, North and South Carolinians. I do not know what your cities are. I'm terrible. We land in South Carolina. We sit on the tarmac for 6 hours. And again, this was not that long after COVID, so you had to wear your masks and you couldn't take them off, and you're just trapped in a little airplane, a hot airplane with your mask on for 6 hours. And they said, yeah, you guys can get off, but we cannot guarantee you that you will get back on. So obviously we're going to sit there. Eventually, they just canceled the flight altogether. I don't know exactly what the reasoning was for it. I don't know if it was just the storms never cleared up, or maybe our pilot hit his flight hours or something. I'm not sure, but that just didn't happen. And then the airline automatically rebooked us for a Monday flight 2 days later. This was Saturday, and they booked us for 2 days later. And we are calling the airline and we're like, please book us on something, anything earlier. And they don't have a damn thing. Not a single flight. Well, I mean, they have flights, but not to where we're going. So we're like, okay, what are we going to do? We ended up switching airlines and ended up flying to an airport that is like an hour away from my dad. My dad lives a few hours away from where we do now. My in-laws live in the same city that we live in, and we have an airport in our city. My dad lives a few hours north of us, and about an hour away from his nearest major airport. So we switch airlines. Thank you, Delta, for being so good. We switch to Delta. We end up flying into the airport closest to my dad. My dad comes and picks us up, and then he drives us halfway down, and then my mother-in-law ends up... My dad comes and picks us up, and then he drives us halfway, and my mother-in-law drives up halfway, and they do a sweet little custodial exchange and pass us off to my mother-in-law, and she drives us all the way home. And that was another... Oh, I forgot to mention... We couldn't even get on that flight for another day. So it was another hotel stay. It was another crack of dawn, 4 o'clock in the morning flight in order just to get to not even our airport, but an airport that can be convenient enough for someone to come get us and drive us down. And you're saying, well, why didn't you guys just rent a car at that point? There were no rental cars. This was, if you don't remember, during COVID and short, after COVID, I think COVID for me in my mind is really like 2020 to 2022 because there were still so many restrictions. So during COVID, there were no rental cars. There's just such a short supply of them because everybody wanted them, because you didn't have to do all of the restrictions like the masks and stuff with rental cars. So we looked into getting a rental car to drive us back to our city instead of having to switch airlines, and we couldn't get one. And we actually overheard a guy on the same flight as us who was going to the same place as us, and he bought an Uber and paid, I think it was like $8,000 for an Uber ride back to like the city that we were going to. It was crazy. So that was a horrible trip. I mean, we ended up losing 2 days of vacation. We ended up traveling for 4 days total, nonstop delays, way more money than we were supposed to spend. It was horrible. The only other time that like comes even close to how bad that trip was we took our daughter to Clearwater last summer, and it was not that bad. It was pretty great. Like she did very well on the airplane. There were no real hitches, but on the way back we had obviously the stroller and her, and I think we had one carry-on. Their train was completely shut down, so they were busing people. So we were waiting in a line for probably an hour, waiting to just get bused to the correct terminal. We're starting to cut it really close, and they must have unloaded a bus of like all of the people who are like handicapped, like the wheelchairs and the people on crutches and stuff. And every single one of those people gets to skip the security line. They get to go in front of you. And I'm sitting there like, okay, we are getting like, oh, and it was just so they have like a row. Obviously, security has like several different security places that they can go through. They were all going through the one that we were stuck in. I'm like, you guys got to spread the love out, because I'm literally looking at my gate and watching them calling the last few people. We are going to sprint to get to our gate, because you're unloading a bus full of people who, and I don't care that they need to skip the line. That's fine. Just spread it out so that one line isn't getting completely backed up, because that's just insanity. If you spread it out, first of all, they all go through much faster, and then you can keep everyone going at a normal pace. So that was really stressful. It ended up being fine. We made the flight. Everything was great. That was the only other time where we were just like, this is horrible. We're not doing this. So at this point, we now have 2 kids, and we're trying to figure out what we want to do for vacation. I think we're going to end up driving somewhere probably, because we are so anxious about air travel, because it's just nothing goes right. Not a single thing. And even if everything does go right, you are so stressed the entire time. It's just not a fun experience. And then by the time you get to your vacation, you're like, I need a moment to just... Anyway, and that is why we are traumatized by air travel. So let me know in the comments if you've ever had the worst travel experience of your life. I would love to hear that story. I find them so interesting. Like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell. I post on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube Shorts every single day. I post on YouTube this kind of video at least once a week. Thank you guys so much for joining me.